My name's Dennis Pogue. I'm the Vice President for Preservation here at Mount Vernon, and we're standing in front of the reconstruction of George Washington's whiskey distillery. Most people have no idea that Washington not only was first in war, first in peace, but he was also one of the first in distilling. And he, as it turns out, he operated a major distillery here, and it was a very important part of the plantation economy. And historians had known this for a long time, but about 10 years ago, we decided that we wanted to explore that, and we came out here with archaeologists, and we excavated the site, found where the distillery had been located, did about 5 years of excavations and other research, and decided that we had a wonderful opportunity to bring this back and to show what an 18th century whiskey distillery was like. And you can't see it anywhere else in the country.
Today we're having a lot of fun doing first run apple brandy distillations. And this is one of our 5 copper stills. They orient themselves kind of from my right to my left in order of size. The smallest one of the stills is about 62 gallons and the largest one's about 95 gallons. This is just the very top of a rather large semi-spherical top and then a conical shaped still. So the still itself is probably that big. This is 95 gallons in here. It's the size of a bathtub in volume. It's kind of a delicate balance. These are direct fired stills, which is really rare right today. But in George Washington's time, this was ubiquitous. So we go through different phases during the process. First thing we do is take what we call the onion, which is the top part of the still, and we just remove it. And we charge the still with the liquid to be distilled. You start on low fire. You basically build a fire with the intent on getting the flame hot enough that it gets the heat going up the flue properly, because otherwise you wind up backing smoke up into the room. Once we get the flue heated up, then we can start putting the fire in and really getting it going. Once we've got the fire established in the firebox, then we establish the water flow in the condensers. And this is an old, what we call the worm style condenser. The vapor comes down the line arm, and then it runs down and turns and then coils around inside of the condenser. And then it comes out the bottom in the back in this little tube right here as a liquid. Once we start getting liquid out the back end, we monitor the quality. And the first or 4 shots that come off the still we call heads. And it's inferior quality, it's high in aldehydes, and that material we collect up and get rid of. It's definitely headsy in the jug.
That's tasting pretty nice though.
Yep, cut. And then once the aldehydes peak and drop off again, then we get to what we call the hearts. And we collect the hearts, and when the hearts are coming off, we're really delicately managing the amount of heat in the still. We don't want to overrun it because it'll push too hard on it. We don't want to underrun it because it'll slow it down. And you can actually see the stream volume change if you put too much or too little heat in the still. And so we're managing that to keep the hearts run just nice and flat and smooth.
They did only 60 to 80 gallons of brandy. It was on a couple of occasions. They did apple brandy one time and peach brandy, and sold a little of it, but it seems the records indicate that most was used at the mansion. So Washington's are entertaining a lot of people. This is after the presidency, so he's just supplementing his other stores of alcohol with some homemade stuff. The whiskey is a different proportion totally. This whole building was really built as a commercial distillery to make rye whiskey. So Washington's men in 1798, the first year this opened, made 4,500 gallons of rye whiskey. In 1799, almost 11,000 gallons. So this little brandy component is a very small measure compared to the whiskey business.
The crew here, the folks that really made this work, would have been African-American slaves. There were 6 young black men who were assigned to the distillery. And it would have been a lot of work, carrying grain around, doing the mashing, then transferring the mash to the stills, doing all of that. So it was a labor-intensive occupation.
There are things that we learned about the operation here that are transferable into modern craft distilling. Things like the use of hops as a natural antibacterial agent. You know, people think hops are only in beer, but as a craft distiller, I can tell you that there are times I use hops when I need bacterial control. But all that came from studying the antique techniques.
There are a number of manuals on distilling that were written during this time period, the late 18th and early 19th century, that describe how you lay out a still house and, you know, the most efficient way of doing things. And so we were able to look at those manuals, and this all fits very well with what's going on, you know, in sort of the larger distilling industry at the time.